a fairy appeared before an astonished Hakim who was in his bedroom studying. The fairy told him that she had heard that he was a good boy. So she had decided to grant him a wish. Hakim quickly recovered from his shock and made a wish. His wish was to. Hakim's wish was to go back in time to ancient Egypt and to experience how life was during that time. Hakim saw a white dazzling light, and before he knew it, he was back in time in ancient Egypt sitting on sand in the Valley of the Kings. When Hakim opened his eyes, a funny-looking brown-skinned boy was staring at him. He was wearing a simple white tynan dress and had a shaved head with a lock of plaited hair growing on one side of his face. The boy asked him who he was. Hakim replied that his name was Hakim and that he had been traveling with a tribe when he had got lost. The boy nodded sympathetically and informed him that his name was Cartoon and told Hakim to follow him to his father's village. As Cartoon and Hakim made their way slowly across the valley in the scorching sun, Hakim felt that he was in a dream. He still couldn't believe that he was in ancient Egypt. After a considerable amount of time, they came to the longest river in the world, which was the River Nile. Hakim felt great excitement when he saw it. There were numerous wooden ships carrying goods and people along the river. Built along the River Nile were a number of mud houses. Cartoon, who seemed to be a very kind-hearted boy, told Hakim not to worry and that his tribe mates would soon find him. As the two boys made their way to Cartoon's village, Hakim witnessed some fascinating sights. Hakim passed an Egyptian man who was wearing a simple loincloth and a wig. He seemed to be making paper from the papyrus reed. Hakim guessed correctly. Nearby, a scholarly-looking man was writing on a scroll of papyrus. Hakim guessed him to be a professional scribe. They then passed a school. The students were sitting on the ground. A tall thin Egyptian man dressed similarly to Cartoon was teaching while the young boys were writing hieroglyphics alphabets on broken pieces of stone. Nearby, a student was being beaten by his teacher for being a slow learner, explained Kaman. Hakim pitied the boy. Hakim peeked into one mud house and saw a mother training her 7-year-old daughter to knead dough using her feet. In another house, he saw a young girl learning to spin and weave cloth. Hakim felt very sorry for poor girls of that time, for he knew that they were not allowed to be educated. Only girls from rich families received education. While walking on the street, Hakim was surprised to see both men and women wearing makeup. Green eyeshadow and black eyeliner seemed to be very popular among the women. All of the people were wearing wigs, he noticed. A lady wearing a long white pleated gown bumped into him accidentally. She was carrying a tray of bread loaves on her head. Cartoon explained that she was delivering bread to a rich noble family. Hakim could not help but smile at the little children on the street. Some were playing with rattles, balls, spinning tops and even toy crocodiles. The boys soon came to Cartoon's house. Cartoon's father was busy making a chest. Cartoon explained to his father how Hakim had got lost. Cartoon's father was very understanding. He informed them that he had been invited to a banquet at a nobleman's house and asked if they would like to join him. The boys were only too happy to go. Hakim was astonished to see the nobleman's beautifully painted house. The guests were decked in their finest clothes. Women wore brilliantly colored collars made of glass beads, flowers and leaves. There was a group of dancers performing acrobatic feats in rhythm to the beats of drums and tambourines. Trumpets were heard to signal that food would be shortly served. A mouth-watering selection of roast goose, stewed beef, kidneys, wild duck and meat of gazelle was served. Everywhere, people were laughing and eating. Suddenly, Hakim saw the fairy. She told him that it was time to go. Hakim then went to his friend Cartoon and told him that his mother was there and that he must leave then. Cartoon felt happy for Hakim but at the same time felt a bit sad. Hakim took one last look around him for he knew that he would never ever come back again. The fairy touched him lightly and suddenly he found himself back in the 21st century, sitting on his bed. In his hand, he was holding an encyclopedia on ancient Egypt.